Welcome to another Moment of Tiki at the Lagoon of Mystery, my home tiki bar in Central Texas. Today we are going to be talking about Jeff BEACHBUM BERRY, one of the elder gods in the tiki pantheon for the tiki revival. Jeff Berry is currently the owner of Latitude 29, a really cool tiki bar right at the edge of the French Quarter in New Orleans. So if you get a chance to go and visit, I highly recommend it. Pontchartrain Pearl Diver is an excellent drink. Before that, however, he was a filmmaker in California. And one of his early works that showed his interest, future interest in all things tiki, was a short film called The Secret of Easter Island. And I will include a link to that in the show notes so you can see it yourself. It's a lot of fun. Berry had an interest in cocktails, specifically tiki cocktails, way before the tiki revival even started. What he did back in the day was seek out the old tiki bartenders who had worked in the great tiki bars of the 1950s and 1960s. And he would befriend them, get them to make him the actual classic drinks. And even though they were a secretive lot, little by little they started sharing recipes with him. Many of the classic Don the Beachcomber tiki cocktail recipes were actually written in code to prevent rivals from stealing his cocktail recipes for his hit cocktails. Over the course of many years, Jeff Berry managed to decipher them. Eventually, he published these rediscovered and reconstructed recipes, enabling the tiki revival to take off, using the actual recipes that were long believed to be lost forever. BEACHBUM BERRY's Grog Log was first published in 2003 as a spiral-bound book by SLG Publishing, otherwise known as Slave Labor Graphics, an indie comic book publisher best known for, publishing indie comic books. Before that, Jeff Berry had collected a bunch of recipes and photocopied booklets his tiki-phile friends on the West Coast clamored for. Grog Log was soon followed by Intoxica, a second volume of arcane and mysterious tiki cocktail recipes. Both proved popular enough that Jeff Berry continued writing books about tiki recipes in history that got better and better. You had Sippin' Safari, and you had Potions of the Caribbean, and you had Taboo Table, all of them excellent books that just got better and better, but we're not going to talk about those today. In 2009, Slave Labor Graphics put out BEACHBUM BERRY Remixed, an omnibus volume containing both Grog Log and Intoxica with updated recipes and 107, count them, 107 new drinks. That's amazing. When someone first gets into tiki, the first book I ever recommend to them is Smuggler's Cove, because that's a broad overview of tiki and rum. It helps orient people to the whole tiki experience. The second book I ever recommend is BEACHBUM BERRY Remixed, because you will not find a better, more massive, more comprehensive collection of just tiki recipes. Recipe after recipe after recipe after recipe after recipe. Damn, it's the most effective way to acquire a downright massive library of classic tiki cocktail recipes. I've had my copy for several years now, and I've gone through maybe a quarter of the recipes contained within. This is primarily a recipe book, but that doesn't mean Berry holds back on his thoughts and opinions. Remember, when Grog Log first came out, very few people remembered what tiki had been. The classic cocktail movement had hardly begun, and most cocktail books included listings for sour mix instead of fresh juice. There's a section on tiki bartending basics here, which orients the reader and outlines basic tools and stresses the use of fresh ingredients, which was necessary as we emerged from the cocktail dark ages. There's also a few pages devoted to the history of rum and tiki cocktails and the tiki scene in general. Don the Beachcomber is discussed, and rightly so, as he, or his Filipino bartenders, invented so many of the original cocktails that formed the foundation of tiki. There are some photos that show just how lush and elaborate these bygone tiki bars and restaurants were. Where Remixed really shines, though, is with the recipes. Even here, Berry has fun with asides and tangents. There's a section on blue drinks and a digression on blue curacao that's entertaining and enlightening. Although blue drinks have a dubious reputation, few things say, "I'm on vacation," quite as loudly as a bright blue cocktail. The Mai Tai gets the same treatment, with Berry outlining the history of the definitive tiki drink, tracing its origin back to Trader Vic's attempt to reverse engineer Don Beach's QB Cooler, a cocktail that Trader Vic really liked. What's interesting is that Trader Vic came up with a cocktail that tasted very similar to the QB Cooler in the Mai Tai, although it shared almost no similar ingredients and was much simpler to make. Because Don Beach had an earlier, unrelated cocktail called the Mai Tai Swizzle, he claimed he had invented the Mai Tai, which annoyed Trader Vic so much that they ended up in court, with Vic ultimately winning. The Mai Tai became such a phenomenon, however, that just about every bar in the country put it on their menu, regardless of whether they knew the recipe or not. This gave rise to dozens of different Mai Tais that had nothing in common with the 1944 Trader Vic original. A true historian, Jeff Berry includes several of those variations here as well. The Zombie is another classic Don Beach cocktail with an interesting history and multiple recipes. Before the Mai Tai came along, the Zombie was the biggest name in tiki cocktails. Not only did the competitors try to copy it, but Don Beach himself liked to tinker, producing several different variations of his Zombie. Most of those are included here as well for folks to compare and contrast on their own at home. This pattern repeats with a number of other Don Beach drinks, including the Beachcomber's Gold, which is alternately described as a great or terrible cocktail depending on which version you sample. One cocktail with many different incarnations that caught my attention is the Singapore Sling. This is one of the most famous cocktails in the world because it's got such a cool name. It's not technically a tiki drink. It originated in the 1900s at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore before Don Beach, inventor of tiki, was even born. But tiki thrives on exotic-sounding cocktail names, so how could the Singapore Sling not become a tiki staple? This is the one we're going to make today. BEACHBUM BERRY includes several different recipes for the Singapore Sling and remixed. None of them are probably the original. The original from the 1900s, that's been lost. There are different versions here from the 1930s, the 1950s, and the 1970s. BEACHBUM BERRY recommends the 1970s reformulation, which was initially published by Dr. Cocktail Haig from his book Vintage Spirits and Forgotten Cocktails. So that's what we are going to make today. So this calls for 3/4 ounce lime juice, okay, and 2 ounces pineapple juice. And again, fresh squeezed is always best, but pineapple is a particularly difficult fruit to juice. So the best quality pineapple canned that you can get is, oftentimes what we have to deal with. So 2 ounces of pineapple. Next, it calls for 1/4 ounce of triple sec. Most people traditionally use Cointreau. I like to use Pierre Ferrand dry curacao, which is a reasonable substitution. ½ ounce 3/4 ounces of cherry hearing, cherry brandy, cherry hearing. This is a cherry liqueur from Sweden, I believe. Half an ounce of Bictine, which is a herbal liqueur. Two ounces of gin. I like to use Plymouth. It's got that juniper nose, but it's really well balanced and floral and crisp, and I find it goes well in a lot of tiki cocktails, including the Saturn. Whoops, dripping some there. Calls for a 1/4 ounce grenadine. Dash of Angostura. Now we add our ice. Shake. Now the recipe calls for half an ounce of club soda. I do not like shaking with carbonated cocktails. Part of the shaking is when the ice melts, the ice expands when water expands when it freezes. So when it melts, it contracts, and that creates a vacuum, a lower pressure to keep juice in your cocktail that you're shaking from leaking out. When you include carbonation and you shake it, that releases the carbon dioxide and creates a positive pressure, which actually forces the liquid out of your cocktail shaker and generally makes a mess. So what I do when the cocktail calls for a carbonated beverage like a ginger beer, or in this case, carbonated water, club soda, is I will add it directly to the glass, then add the drink. So as it pours, it stirs. And finally, top it off with a good bit of ice. Garnish with pineapple wedge. Add a straw. And here we have the Singapore Sling. It's tasty. Crisp, not quite as sweet as you would think it would be. Got a little hint of bitterness, but it's an easily drinkable cocktail. It's gin-based, but fits firmly within the tiki pantheon. And even though this is not the original 1900 Singapore Sling, which again, nobody knows, it tastes very much like something that could have existed then. So there you have it. The Singapore Sling, as recipe given in the pages of BEACHBUM BERRY REMIXED, excellent tiki cocktail book I highly recommend. So for the next episode, maybe you can go through and make a few of these for yourself, find out which ones are your favorites. Until next time, we meet again in the Lagoon of Mystery. Aloha.